laners to deal with it, and that's probably something they need to worry about.
It is a bit of a concern. Very valid you are there, Telly. I mean, it's really a case of saying we need to win hard enough that we don't actually have to worry about the split pushing because we are straight crushing it in the pure 4v4. Let's see what materializes then as we load into the rift for game number 2 in this best of 2 with Antic currently leading.
Yeah, and that's a tough position to be in, Skimmy, as the non-favorite team, you know, like thinking that you have to get ahead, you know, in the 5v5, because when we get into the side lanes, when Camille has access to those flanks and just sitting in the, you know, like the corridors, you're putting yourself in a lot of dangerous positions, because Zornis in the 1v1 can, you know, start taking those turrets when he has enough sustain, you know, he can find those solo kills onto the Corki, onto the Ornn as soon as he gets enough items, because as Camille scales up, this really isn't the champion who can really deal with him in the side lane.
No, it isn't. And we've seen how many times now this split alone where the Camille gets that first item, be it second item. You're like, well, GG, wrap it up. Who deals with it? And then how many times we've also said in that same conversation, well, they can't deal with one champion. Maybe if the jungler gets involved, perhaps that's enough. But maybe you need even more. And if that comes to life, then suddenly, yeah, your 4v4 no longer exists. So it is a bit of a concern. We'll have to see what does come about, because few exciting things, as you already mentioned, in that draft phase. Double AD carry here for Mammoth. Hopefully the Nidalee can hit that point in which the heal is a big enough boost of damage and attack speed that the Ashe and Corki can be a bit of a menace. But in the same vein, it's kind of cool to see Incursio flexing that control mage pool. I know he's been playing a little bit of it in solo queue too, so must be stage ready. Yeah, definitely. Nice to see that he's flexing his pool, but it's also nice to see Dracu learning from his mistakes in game 1. Not face checking the bush this time, throwing out the hook to make sure that, okay, if there's someone in this bush, at least I have my aftershock and I won't take any damage. We expect to see the Ashe being the stronger one in the bot lane right now. You're using that volley, using the power of Ashe in early game to get the priority in bot lane. But we do see both junglers partying towards bot side, so this might be a bad time for Foreigner if Gudo decides to attack him in his bot side jungle. Well, also on that is the ability for the Ashe to constantly gain vision, right? So they do have all the time in the world to understand, do we go for the play, do we outplay, be it through a invade, or is that a perfect opportunity for then us to gank one of these matchups? And you talked about how volatile it was in game 1. What are we thinking about the matchups this time? Has much changed? I would say there's just no volatility in this game. You know, everyone has a form of avoiding the jungler. You know, Ashe with the constant hawk shots to always keep track of where Foreigner is. We see like the hook shot out of Camille, the swoop out of Incursio. There's just way too many ways to avoid the ganks, and there's just not much CC in the lanes that will be, you know, susceptible because they push up. So I don't think anyone feels too worried in the early game. I just think that it's going to be when the junglers meet, are we going to see any fights happen then? Speaking of junglers, I think you really want to make sure that Voice can link up with Gudo nice and early to guarantee them that, you know, CC, to make sure that these spears connect to the execute. Pounce is there to follow up, and that they can get the ball rolling nice and early. Same tune as game 1 for Zoranis. He's managed to push in the wave, keep Reneko locked underneath his tower, and also drop his health fairly low in the process. Gudo, though, going to plant vision where it already exists and equal that of what Antic have to protect themselves in the bot lane, but unable to find a lane to target just yet. He's going to have to settle for the scuttler. Yeah, Gudo might go for the double crab, but I think Foreigner wants to take this gank instead. Both supports jumping on in then, looking for the engage angle. Gun crab already zoned away. Voice overcommitted. Once you go in as Leona, there is no getting out. And unfortunately for him, the first blood goes to Raze. Yeah, this might be that miscommunication I was talking about, Skimmy. We always talked about how we saw Foreigner on the hawk shot. We knew that he was parting bot, and they still decided to, you know, go for the aggression in the trade when Dracu plays aggressive himself. And I think Gudo was going to be able to get ahead, you know, getting the double crab, even hopefully picking up the chicken respawn or the raptor respawn here. So he's going to be very far ahead in his individual 1v1 with the camp lead. But I think his bot lane might have, you know, fallen a bit too far behind for that to matter. Yeah, it's pretty rough for them to start off on that case. Gudo took the opportunity then to steal a few camps away from Foreigner, but with the pathing back for what he anticipated still was there, he's going to be cut short on that recall that he was hoping for. So back to base he goes, looking to try and get himself in a point of power, much like he was on that Jax. Certainly if the Nidalee can get ahead, it can take over the show. But easier said than done. Doesn't usually find the most success in OS, and very much in the same conversation as an Ezra, right? You almost need the player to have a license to pilot these champions, because some are good and some aren't. Yeah, definitely. And I'm excited to see Predator on his core here in mid lane, because we know him as the former AD carry from PGG and how much prowess he had on that role. You know, considered one of our better players in the region, and I might have just cast a curse to see I think you may have done. You've said just how good he was, so it's only fair that he then falls on down 10 seconds later. On this occasion, he plays right into what you mentioned. The volatility should be nothing. Valkyrie flash. and you're gone, you're safe. Meanwhile, bot lane, Voice jumps in on his own, bear in mind. He says, Raze, what are you going to do? Can I feign any kind of panic flash? But he holds his nerve.
Yeah, it gets the ward that Raze places down in the bush, so he clears out the only vision they're going to have access to in lane. Support's out trading 80 carries in early game. Like, this is nothing new. Leon is broken. But, you know, to touch back in on the map state, Praedyth, this is probably the only player who I've really seen do this in the mid lane position. He holds his TP a lot. He doesn't, you know, just commit it back to lane straight away. I think it's a bit, that's an old meta thing where you would like, oh, the wave state is in a fine position, I don't need to be back to lane. I think that, you know, based on the way TP works now and how the cooldown just automatically gets reduced when you hit that 10-minute mark, I think it's completely fine to TP back to lane and play for that constant wave priority. As we see a trade going on a bot lane, and Voice might not be tanky enough to survive this.
He may have done actually enough to bait this one beautifully, right? So low, but a summoner heal is enough to keep him up for the meantime. They turn attention to Raze, lock him down for as much CC as they can find. But as the CC drops, so do the members of Mammoth. He was the focus, and for good reason too, Tally. He's sitting on a double right now. Foreigner is saying, here, take the triple. But he takes it in the end himself.
Yeah, and as we go back into live, we see the instant, you know, swoop on mid. Praedyth goes under turret. Both, you know, losing his flash and Cursor still holding his own, but this will probably favor Praedyth in the 1v1. You know, he still has his TP, he still has the fleet, he's able to sustain up, and Cursor cannot match that. And, you know, we see that Q max on Corki in mid lane, we see the Triforce build coming out of them, so this is probably a lot more in line with what we're seeing on the current patch for the Corki.
Yeah, as opposed to the Gatling gun rush in game 1 for the bot lane variant of Corki. All about the phosphorus bomb now. Make sure you got the range to go into that of the Sand Soldiers for Incursio. A little bit too clean so far. As we'll run it back on the replay to see how it all materializes. Voice baiting, and it looks pretty bad at the start here. Like, you're going to get one shot, but the heal comes out. The tankiness of the shield is there, and they turn it around.
Yeah, this was just really unfortunate on the turnaround. Godot doesn't land the spear onto Raze, so we can get the execute there. It lands on the Foreigner, and we saw how many shurikens Raze was able to stack up. We know all about what Aphelios can do with the red-white good night.
So he was red and white, and he was a very happy man as a result of that one, because he's now 3-0-1. Only champion bounty in the game. And it is just a classic Raze show from game 1 to 2. He's not falling off. They look at Gunkrab and say, you've got no ultimate, but I certainly do. So, Nanite.
Yeah, and as we are seeing the attack on bot lane, we're seeing the trade on top lane, but I don't know if they have the damage to take him down. We see Draco defending him so well. What a nice
spear. Really nice spear there. I was thinking maybe he's done enough to dodge it. But the projectiles, look, he's been graced by Riot this time.
Yeah, and I'm genuinely impressed with how Antic play as a team. You know, there's always someone defending, someone attacking. There's never just like, okay, we're trading this side for this side. We always see multiple members trying to defend if someone else is, you know, by themselves on the other side of the map, getting as much goal as possible. And I think it's a really good use of resources coming out of Antic and making sure that, you know, Camille is a carry this game and we can't just leave her on an island by herself.
Got to make sure you get them, you know, involved in the process of things, right? Or Camille simply does take over the game as a result. Straight out of the fountain, back with a sheen, and back with a vengeance. So much damage. And since you hit me with a spear before, it's my time to take you down.
And he doesn't even get the red skimmy, so there's no consultation prize for Godot. He falls down, unfortunately, unable to clear the red out fast enough before the respawn of Zorinus came out. And this is one of the changes that happened a long time ago, Skimmy. The early game respawns were changed, and it catches a lot of people off guard who've been playing the game for a very long time. You're used to these longer respawn times, but all of a sudden, you know, it's only a couple, it's like 7 to 10 seconds in the early game and you're back on the map.
Yeah, very, very quick, right? You think you've got enough time to afford a cheeky little stroll into the enemy jungle. What can I take? You know, not to be. Unfortunately, caught and has now really added fuel to the fire, which is a Camille on a Sheen, also has the Cole, and now is under threat of a potential 1v1. Reneko looking for the fight, hits the second charge of that Call of the Forge God. Fight happens in the mid lane, and Praedyth wins out on that 1v1. But we continue here top.
It's gonna be
and we're watching them trade out shields and mitigation, and who can find the reset. And in the end, he says, you know what, nice bellows breath, but watch this. Fakes it with the hook shot backwards, but then flashes on his head for the stun.
Yeah, very well played by Zorinus, flashing over the top of the belly's breast so he doesn't apply the brittle to him, because if he could find that brittle, that would have been an execution for Reneko. Reneko the one aggressing there, trying to find a solo kill, but just unfortunately misses the initial Q, so he can't get that slow to really hit that Ornn combo that we're so used to seeing.
Really, really nice outplay there by Zorinus to eke out the advantage. Once again, Draco finds a target, locks him down, and says, Raze, how would you like to have 5 kills now? Collector already done. That's before the 10-minute mark. And whilst Praedyth has picked up the Trinity Force after his kill in mid lane, which we're going to watch now, this is a dice. No way that arrow hits!
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Sometimes you do this, you know, everyone thinks about these Ash arrow mids. You remember like the double F clips of just the constant arrows mid and how impactful they can be on these mid matchups, because sometimes you don't really want to arrow your lane because of how far you fall behind, and we see Gunkrab falling down again, so committing resources to mid is the correct play here.
Let them live, guys. Antic.
Mercy.
You have been bullying this bot lane like there is no tomorrow. Even Zornis, he's got bored of top lane. He's won it that hard that he's come down here to get amongst it all. He's got no TP. He's cancelled the recall. 3 men become 4 as they really want to make sure that Voice and Guncrab are not going to be participating in this game whatsoever. Voice jumps out one way, ults the other, and I don't think anyone's going to fall on down. So that turret is gone. The plates have all been consumed. And Antic have so much money.
Yeah, very strange setup coming out of Mammoth. We've seen another arrow landing on the coast here, but not this spear, so I don't think they have the damage Skimmy.
Double skill shots, the projectile's only one connecting, and the arrow simply was enough. Oh, it is very broken, so at least they'll trade back something. Opposite sides of the map, and it is going to be Guncrab that gets amongst it too.
I didn't even know that was an interaction, Skimmy. We see, Reneko using the charge, which we know breaks terrain, cast it on the Azir ult, mid-animation, and it just deletes the ult. It doesn't exist.
I've never seen that before. Very niche. Well, today you get to learn something new. Even a mid lane extraordinaire like Telly himself has figured out something new he can bring to those solo queue games.
I can't wait to, try that one into Azir, just fail 100 times. But
exactly.
See Antic collapsing here for the grubs. They don't want to give anything on the map anymore. They're going to constantly follow Mammoth around, make sure there is no trading. They want to attack because Raze is so much stronger than his counterpart, and they want to use that this game.
They certainly do. Still the only person in this lobby with a champion bounty, so 700 gold to be picked up if they can find him, if they can gain access. Very hard to do so at this point though, because it's got a flash as well as the cleanse. The lockdown simply will not be there. And really, you are very much reliant then on a skill shot connecting, be it the Ashe, the Leona, or even the Ornn. But there is no Vi to guarantee that that target cannot outplay. Another item note being picked up by Gudo, Lichbane there. Certainly going to add an extra layer of power to the combo that's already been so proficient for him so far this game. You can see they're very concerned about their own side of the jungle. They've been completely zoned away.
Didn't even check the bush, Jimmy.
Oh! Well, across the wall, Draku goes and says, surprise, watch this, Moonlight Vigil, you're dead! It connects, but in the end, it's the depth charge that does the final bit of damage. And Voice with nowhere to turn. He has a flash, he doesn't want to burn it. Is he going to use it at all? He does in the end. And I mean, Antic's pressure, it's becoming insurmountable.
Yeah, and Predator's just running straight for the way, but we do see an all in the bot lane. Will this be different this time, Skimmy?
Another cheeky 1v1, really nicely done with the Hextech ultimate jumping right across that Call of the Forge God. The Brittle's been applied, the damage is there, but he just doesn't have enough time. And Reneko, I mean, the 0-2 scoreline doesn't look pretty, but these have been close.
Yeah, that's a completed item against a non-completed item. Raze has the cleanse, but, it waits a very long time to commit it, so he has to burn the flash as well. Was going for a little bit of disrespect there. Hoped he could tank that one out, absorb the CC, but that wasn't the case. See, with Predator with the TP going onto bot lane, he just cares about farm, Skimmy. He doesn't care about his team at all. He will just keep going to these waves. He doesn't want to interact with these fights. He's probably like, guys, I need to get 3 items. Just hold up.
Trust me, guys, I'll outscale this Camille. Don't worry. Oh, wait, they're 3-1. Well, I need a few more kills. I need a little bit more farm. Does actually have the most farm in the game by a bit of a wide margin at this point, but does that really matter if he's going to force, situations like this where he gets collapsed upon by so many members? Voices. Tried to go for the Zenith Blade there, and Predator says, you know what? I think I'm dead. I'm just going to flash and raise head and try and get something, and he does! Incredible! They trade 1 for 1. Exactly like that, and then Voice realizes, well, I guess I'm just the next one on the chopping block, and falls down shortly after. That's
a shutdown to Predator. I mean, that's exactly what he wanted. He's going to be a little bit accelerated now, hopefully get towards these next items. Curious to what that will be, if it's going to be like the rapid fire cannon that we see from Chovy overseas so consistently. But, I think that based on the fact the enemy team is going to be diving into you, can go for a lot more of that DPS build, focus on, getting the Infinity Edge into the LDR as soon as possible, so your DPS is as optimal as it can be.
I'm sure he's got a huge injection of gold there, so let's see exactly how much that's boosted him up the ladder. You can see now actually second overall. Ray still firmly at the top, up by 1,500 over that of Praetive, but he is the only one up there really giving signs of life. I suppose Good are not too far behind. Both the junglers keeping a lot of pace, but it's the top lane is surprisingly, despite how well Zornis has been doing, nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that Predator might be listening to the stream, so he sells his Zeal, he refunds it, and instantly buys a Yo Sword. He wants to get Infinity Edge as soon as possible. He has much single target DPS as he can. We see Zornis grouping. He doesn't want to be playing to the side. you know, giving Mammoth something to trade on. Even though he can win the 1v1 against Praetor pretty comfortably, he doesn't need to. He just needs to make sure that his team gets objective, his map is, you know, in a good state, and he can impact the game as soon as possible.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Another turret falls on down, as that's what Praetor's been able to pick up, turn attention on towards Incursio. Reneko's always jumped in with the commit. Great flash out of the Emperor's Divide, otherwise he was certainly the next one for them to take on down. Still might be, actually, as he just is in range there of the hook of the Nautilus, and they waste no time to take him down. Summon the Herald, and that kill compounds even further. A bit of a cheeky base race at this stage. Just
they don't win, Skimmy. They don't win.
They do not.
Absolutely do not want to race. You don't want to ever base race Riftheld. It's too powerful at pushing turrets. Have to see if they do want to go for the inhibitor. One of the main things in League is you really don't want to blow inhibitors pre-20 minutes because that's a 3-minute downtime where you're just funneling free gold to the enemy team. And there's no major objective on the map like the Baron or the Elder Dragon later on in the game that you can really take while this inhibitor is down.
Well, the inhibitor does get left standing as you wanted, and the only thing taken on that occasion, there would have been 2 turrets. So down to 50%, they're going to be pretty happy that the damage has been done. But Reneko is going to trim that wave, isn't going to allow those minions to take that inhibitor for free to try and funnel that gold, as you mentioned. Checking in then, you can see that the flip, I suppose, saving grace for the team that is behind. I'm sure Mammoth aren't too upset by the fact they were able to open a lane of pressure, especially considering that the next objective for them to contest over will be this Drake. 2 done already so far by Antic. They got the Soul, or very close to getting it last game. Let's see if they can look to try and disrupt it this time, as Goodo has been caught. He will go golden, but it really does feel like he's delaying the inevitable here, unless he's got some crazy tricks up his sleeve. Not to be. Zoranus wipes that one out. Flash on his head, gets it done. Double kill to be found. And the Camille says, I want to reach the same heights as this Aphelios. They've got 12 kills between them.
Yeah, and this is the problem, the disconnection. Once again, we see Goodo a bit ahead of his team, and we saw how powerful Zoranus is when he finds these 1v1s. Like, no one can really stand up to him right now, especially in the Hextech Ultimatum. It's so easy for him to take out these squishy champions. And, you know, Draku, once again, another ult, another kill. We keep seeing hooks landing, and maybe this one shouldn't have landed, Skibby.
Maybe not this one. Maybe you've bitten off a little bit more than you can chew on this occasion. Or perhaps you're just the best player, and you just continue to serve all these delicacies to race to say, have some more gold, have some more, as a Arrow is going to go all the way to top lane and barely missing onto Zoranus, who is just chilling by the Hex Gates.
Yeah, I just love how Praetor just does not care about the game state at all. He is in the side lane. Anyone comes, he fights them, and then he keeps pushing. He's trying as much gold as possible. Infinity Edge will be bought on this reset here from him, so he is in terms online when it comes to his power, but then you have to look across the map at Raze, and he is, you know, if, you know, the same strength, if not stronger right now.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, last time we checked in, he still had 1,500 gold over that of Praetor's Corki, so still in an incredibly strong position. Two of the bet items, you'd say, with the cloak being picked up there as well, so has a lot of critical strike. And with the flash just coming off CD now, with that and the cleanse for this upcoming Drake fight, I mean, you'd be pretty mad to want to entertain the 5v5.
Yeah, I think it'd be a bit crazy for Mammoth to want to take this 5v5 right now. I think they're strong, but not quite strong enough, but they are walking against Gimme.
Well, they will commit to it and say, you know what, watch this. Reneko jumps in, has nothing to headbutt into, so no stun will be found, completely exposed. And the first one to fall on down on this occasion. Heartbreak used by Foreigner to get himself access into that fight. And you know what, we'll just look at the mid lane, because Foreigner's going to get that dragon on his own, and they'll just hold a 4v4 in mid.
Yeah, good call by Antic. Foreigner has the Blade of the Rune King, so it's very easy for him to solo out this dragon. They don't want to drop this mid turret, since if they commit members to the dragon and help Foreigner, they leave their mid lane susceptible to falling down. That's gold they did not want to hand over to the Mammoth side. One winning thing for Mammoth here is, as we do have the 1v1 onto Praetor, and I don't think he wins this one quite yet.
Let's see if he can get this one on a winning term, because he's flashed out of that Moonlight Vigil. Voice is still applying enough pressure onto Raze to warrant that of the flash to disengage away. Broken the vision line. Praetor is stuck here, gets an Ash Arrow, hits the Phosphorus Bomb, and look at the damage it did for the second time now. Raze's nemesis has been that of Praetor, old 80 carry, but this time in a new role, still has it out for him.
Yeah, Gunkrab may be running it down this game screen, but these arrows are extremely clutch. Such a nice arrow lands on the Foreigner, which means he gets to live that extra couple seconds and finds the Q auto attack onto the crucial member of Raze. So another shutdown into Praetor's pocket. We see the buildings of the rapid fire cannon coming into his inventory, and I think that when this item comes online is when Praetor can finally start, you know, being the big boss of the Rift.
And it's what you mentioned before, right? Team, please believe in me. I just need 3 items and we can win this one. We'll speak of another champion that absolutely loves it. 3 items. It's Zoranus. He's jumped in once again, found what he's after. And they've given Nkosu his second of the game. Hookshot to disengage away left side. Nkosu runs the other way. And it becomes a mad chase as to what target is more attractive. The flash, the potential blast cone. Oh, the X-Flash! Oh, no! He's cancelled the channel. And the blast cone in the end is not enough to create the distance they were hoping for.
Yeah, really unfortunate was unable to get there, but the Skimmy, this fight is still going. We see the North Star coming back. Predator has found the flank onto Raze.
Raze on the flank, and it is Predator acting as an assassin, waiting, lurking, hoping to find him, and yet again they prove to be successful. The killing blows taken by Reneko, but that doesn't really matter because in the end all they wanted was delay Raze from finding that 3-item spike before I can get it myself.
Yeah, but Foreigner is just so strong. It's going to be so easy for him to just completely take over the game when he keeps finding his possessions. It should be an easy kill for him onto Reneko. No one on the team is here to help him, so he's going to run him down, finally find the kill, and you know, we'll see if he does want to go for the inhibitor. It's a bit, you know, risky to stay on the map from so long as the rest of his team is nowhere near. But once again, like another sloppy fight coming out. We see double TPs committed from Mammoth, but still a favorable trade for Antic. We thought Nkosu would be able to get out here, but this is a very hard, you know, thing to click sometimes, Gibby. Sometimes it's just, you know, just out of range of your mouse cursor, and unfortunately, Nkosu does go down there. But once again, Antic using the fact that they keep having numbers advantage and just really collapsing, using their CC engage, and then cleaning up these fights based on the fact they have multiple strong members.
And it has to be frustration for Raze, right? Always playing so defensively as a good AD carry does, but then saying, surely we've cleared this entire area, we should be fine. Right back to that same area we go again with the same members present as Draku jumps in. Foreign is looking to assist and Raze, waiting, hoping to get the killing blow. Not to be found this time, but at least they've identified that Predator is flanking, and this time it is to be covered and neutralized by Zoranus.
Yeah, Predator may be strong at flanking, but Zoranus is even better, and he finds him in that 1v1 by himself and completely chops his head off with the scissor legs. And it's just so easy for Camille to take out these squishy AD carries when Zoranus is this fed.
So many fed members though on the side of Antic, right? You look at it and go, well, who do we really want to target? And I suppose the weakest of them all so far would be this Azir, but I mean, something in the water, man. Whenever you see Foreigner play these Viego games, he just goes off.
Yeah, he doesn't really have to do anything in the early game either. It's just all about the fact that these members are diving onto his team, and all he has to do is, you know, find that one possession, and suddenly Viego is the best champ on the Rift.
He certainly has been. He's only kicking himself that he's not an AP champion, right? The Dark Seal would have been finding infinite value if he was able to utilize that one as well. But have to settle for getting a Black Cleaver. Certainly a nice little acquisition to give them even more shredding potential. We'll run it back with how this fight initially started.
Yeah, it's just they're walking in trying to get some vision on the Baron, but, you know, once again, Antic are ready, setting the trap up, and Zoranus finds the easy pick onto Predators by himself. And, like, once again, we always see these numbers advantage coming out of Antic because they're always on the same page.
Well, 22 minutes into this one tally, 10k Goldie, Antic in a very familiar position as they were in game one. 26 kills to 9. It's been very commanding in that regard. Really has been Predator and Goodo, and a bit of a dream thereafter is Gunkrab, unfortunately, on this occasion. 7th death this game. The Ash
I've seen this too
has
many
found
times,
value in finding ultimates, but not much more.
I've just seen this too many times. I've seen Predator, Gunkrab by himself, getting Camille ulted, getting Nautilus ulted, and just falling over. They don't care the fact that he's, you know, 0-5, 0-6, 0-7. They're blowing everything to kill him. I think this is personal.
It seems to be that way at this stage, doesn't it? As they will go in and look to assault the Nexus. One tower goes down to 50%. Reneko really wants to try and dodge things out. Once again, great Hextech Ultimatum, dodging out that of the Solar Flare. So Voice overextended now. He's going to be the next one to fall on down as the turret also follows in quick pursuit. One turret remains. Double kill for Raze. Foreigner flashing forward, becomes the Leona, but then falls on down. Unfortunately for him, gifting that of Gunkrab his first kill of the game. The Emperor's Divide to shove another member in. And in the end, they will just get farmed inside their fountain. It won't be a perfect ace, but I'm sure Antic won't mind. It's a quick, clean series for them, and all 3 points on the day.
And that's the story, Skimmy. A quick, clean series. Back-to-back weeks from Antic. Back-to-back very clean performances from them. Really excited to see how they go up against our top 2 teams in the coming weeks. So I just want to see what they look like when they're really contested, because right now, they're looking unstoppable.
They certainly are. They won't have another game this week for our very first Super Week. They'll have to wait until next week to get amongst all that action and their first game of